So Dan Peters, I'm our Enterprise Product Marketing Manager at Fujitsu. So I'm responsible for our x86 family of products, and that includes our converged infrastructures or integrated systems. So products where we bring server, storage, networking, and hypervisor together. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. So give you a bit of a kind of update on the market, and then talk to you a bit about some of our products, and then focus in on Cluster in a Box, which is our Microsoft Windows Server 2012 converged infrastructure appliance. Okay, so let's start with...
You've moved to your laptop, haven't you? So that's not going to...
That's not going there, so let's just use the laptop. Where are we on your journey? So where are you on this converged infrastructure journey? Do you still have legacy model x86 physical hardware, and it's what we've built our businesses on, and what a lot of people still have? Or have you moved to consolidation? So we recently launched, or Intel launched their Grantley Haswell processor in September. We launched our new RX 300, the 2540. That we say has a performance ratio of 2:1 over its 4-year-old predecessor. So Moore's Law is absolutely coming into effect, and not just on CPUs, but also on memory and hard drives. So there's absolutely a reason to consolidate. Or are you even further on that journey? Have you virtualized? You may be on second and third wave virtualization, and we're going to talk about that a bit more in the coming slides. Or are you even further on, and you've looked at kind of more automation type software, and you're further on looking at kind of cloud-based models, utility-based computing. So let's have a look at the market. So in June this year, Gartner released a Magic Quadrant for integrated systems, and they released this statement: single vendor and multi-vendor converged infrastructures and hyper-converged infrastructures will grow more than 50% from 2014 to 2013 to reach 6 billion. So 6 billion, that's a global figure, so it doesn't really kind of mean that much to us. But the x86 market in the UK is set to kind of grow by 1% or stay flat over the next year or so. And this is absolutely the growth area of the market. And as vendors, we've been kind of talking about these products for the last couple of years or so. But it's really only kind of recently, or in recent times, that we've kind of got this huge pull from customers, and we've absolutely seen that from our customers, and we've got some kind of products that fit really well into this market. So some key reasons. First one, time. So as I said, it's server, storage, operating system, networking, all together. So they come pre-configured, pre-integrated, pre-tested. So our V-Shape product is VMware as the hypervisor, Brocade switching, NetApp FAS storage, and then Primergy RX 300 as the server. So we typically say if you're going to kind of try and undertake a virtualization project and bring all of those types of vendors together, then that's going to take you about 3 months to first of all decide on the vendors, bring them together, integrate them, go through that process, and then test them. That's going to take you 3 months. It might take you a bit less, it might take you a bit more, but pretty much about 3 months, and we do these out of the box, so that 3-month time window is eliminated for you. Resource is the next thing. So you might not have, as a business, have the skills to be able to bring those technologies together. It's complicated, it's difficult, so you might not have the resource. So a recent customer for our V-Shape product, DCG, they're a data management company, so they manage their customers' data. They bought V-Shape and they moved from a physical to a virtual environment, so you're going to see loads of operational costs. They saw 40% reduction in their operational costs as a result of V-Shape, and that's kind of a given because of virtualization. We're going to talk about that in a bit more detail. But the one for me was really that they saw 20% free up in their IT team's time. So they weren't spent going through this process, so it freed up time for them to be able to concentrate on more strategic tasks. And the last one's service, and this is a big one for Fujitsu. So with our V-Shape product, as I mentioned, there's 4 vendors included in there, but it's one service contract that you'll get. And it's one support number. So you'll ring up, if something goes wrong with any part of your V-Shape, you'll ring up your UK call centre, and one of our 3,000 UK engineers will come out and support you on that on any part of the solution, and that's actually a real unique because we will manage first and second line support for all of the elements of the solution, and actually manage it through to completion for third line as well. So let's have a quick look at virtualization. So this is physical world, lots of physical servers, individual running their own applications and operating systems. And you can, I don't know if you can see these, but these little green bars kind of show you the utilization of those servers. So massively inefficient and kind of totally under-resourced, loads of compute, loads of storage not being utilized. So then we move to virtualization. We pop in a hypervisor and we're able to run all of those different applications on one server. Fantastic. We get all of these benefits. So physical resources, so energy and space is an obvious one, but then there's things like automation and easy deployment we can utilize with virtualization. But what we do now find is we've got, in this old world, we had our risk was spread all over the place. So if one of these servers goes down, it's annoying and we've got to get it back up and running. If this server goes down, maybe we've got everything on here, if this server goes down, it's a problem. You're not sending email, you're not generating invoices, your business isn't operating anymore. So what we need to do is make this fault tolerant, and that's complicated and difficult to do. So that's why we created Cluster in a Box. So Cluster in a Box. So Cluster in a Box is 2 server nodes, shared storage, and then Windows Server 2012 R2. We've got 2 different variants, CX and BX. So BX utilises our blade chassis technology, and as you can see, it's on wheels and on a coaster. So that has a sub 45 decibel noise setting, so it's about ambient office noise level. So that really, if you haven't got a comms room, if you haven't got a data center, you can just wheel that into the corner and you've got your fault-tolerant converged infrastructure or server infrastructure just buzzing away quietly in the corner. If you have got a data center or a computer room, then we go down the CX route. So CX utilizes our 2U, we usually use it for our high-performance computing platform, but for this instance, yeah, it's your 2U server with 2 server nodes and shared storage just in that one chassis. And we've actually got one downstairs that you can have a look at. So once you order it, you plug it in, turn it on, and then you go through the out-of-the-box experience wizard. So this is the bit that Fujitsu adds on top. So this is our GUI that takes you through the complicated process. So typically it's going to take you, if you've got the skills to do it, about a day, maybe a bit more, to set up a Windows clustered environment. With our out-of-the-box experience wizard, it's going to take you 30 to 40 minutes. So it takes you through the process of getting the nodes talking to each other, setting up your shared storage, getting to the point where you can move your services over onto your new platform. And you get to enjoy your high availability IT environment. So let's look at the benefits of Cluster in a Box. So we said failover clustered and redundant hardware. So we've got 2 server nodes. If one goes down, it's got a heartbeat between each of them, so it goes straight to the other one. We've got shared storage. We've got redundant power supplies in there. So that means we've got business continuity and nearly no downtimes for you as a business. We're not talking about lots of different vendors here or bringing together lots of different vendors. It's all Fujitsu and Microsoft. It's one order code, so for simple procurement. And as we've said, it's pre-configured, pre-installed and pre-tested, ready to go. So that means that it's ready to work minutes after you've got it. But also, if you've gone through this process yourself, then you've got the risk that that might not work. We take that risk, so there's no implementation risk for you. And then finally, you get to leverage the benefits of server virtualization with Hyper-V, which is included within Windows Server 2012 R2 data center. So let's have a look at the offering in a bit more detail. So we've got 3 predefined part numbers. So 2 of the CX and 1 of the BX. You don't need to sort of concentrate on all that. There's quite a lot of detail up there, but just to say that these part codes are set up in distribution, ready to go. But what we also offer is configurable Cluster in a Box. So we can configure the CPU, the memory, and the hard drive to what you want. And the important point of that, you can do that for the CX and the BX, but the important point of that is that you still get that out-of-the-box experience, even on configurable cluster in a box. So finally, I want to talk to you about a recent case study. So Barry Knitwear are a high-end knitwear company based in the borders of Scotland, and they were bought by the Chanel Group. Chanel gave them some money to invest in their IT infrastructure. They had 6 aging servers. They kind of knew that they wanted to get virtualization, but didn't really understand it and didn't really know that much about it. So their partner offered them a server and SAN offering, which was technology that they didn't really understand and also was out of budget for them. So we took the time to go up and see them, explain to them about virtualization and explain the benefits that cluster in a box could derive for them. They got it, they understood it, and I suppose just on that point, so they had no experience of virtualization, so certainly no skills in VMware. That's why cluster in a box was a really good fit for them. But in their words, resilient, reliable and flexible platform that will support their business and growth. So they had growth expansion plans. They've just been bought by Chanel. They've got 6 servers. We sold them a CX Medium, which is this one here, which we sized up to, we say typically 30 virtual machines, 25 to 30 virtual machines. So they've got 6. They've got data center version of Windows 2012, which means you have infinite licenses of Hyper-V. So as they need more services, as they bring them on, they can just put them onto their cluster in a box at no additional cost to themselves. Right, that's pretty much what I wanted to finish on was a couple of things. One was Windows Server 2003, probably most of you know, July 14th next year, that's going end of support. So no more updates from Microsoft for 2003. They say that, my learned friend here probably can tell me, it's probably about 50% of the market is still on 2003. But so you need to port your applications over onto a 64-bit operating system, more than likely. You need to migrate your operating system, and you'll more than likely need to change your physical hardware at the same time as well. So I think in 2013 there were 37 critical updates for 2003, so there's lots of reasons why you need to move, and cluster in a box, as you've seen hopefully, is a kind of very easy soft on-ramp to virtualization. So a good fit for somebody looking to migrate from 2003. And then the last thing is, we launched this product in the middle of last year. We've had a lot of success with it, but we're doing a brand new marketing campaign, which has kind of started about now. Lots more messaging into the market, and as part of that, we're doing a promotion. So till the end of the year, there's up to 20% discount on cluster in a box. Till the end of the year. So happy to take, well, are we taking questions now? Or yeah, happy to take questions now. I'll be around downstairs. We can come and have a look at the product. And as I said, there's lots more information available. Hopefully we're going to be able to share these slides with you. This takes you through to the microsite for cluster in a box, where there's videos and case studies and in-depth stuff about the product. Hi.
Does this work across platforms with Mac and PC, or just PC only?
Absolutely, yeah, this will work cross-platform, so Mac and PC will still operate on an x86 environment, so yeah, yes. Was that you, a PC environment? This is the back-end server infrastructure? Yeah, absolutely. That will,
the Mac works the video side and the PC.
Well, this is industry standard x86 technology, and so, which is what you have on both of those, Mac and PC, so yes.
I know there's various clients here that have got multiple servers, some have only got a small amount. What's the reason that you virtualise? Because that's the new, that's a buzzword, like cloud is a buzzword. So
yeah.
What's your thoughts behind, other than reducing 9 servers to 2 or 3, what's the...
Well, so that was one of the big things for Barry, actually. They had physical servers, and they had multiple OS licenses to manage, but suddenly they only had one operating system to manage. So there's that reason. There's physical reasons, obviously. Yeah, you no longer have lots more space taken up. You no longer need to cool those servers. There's power and kind of heating reduction as a result of that. You can do more things like kind of moving around a virtual machine within a Windows environment is actually quite easy, and you can actively kind of dynamically move servers around, and can dynamically use the resource that you've got on that server as well, which you just can't do in a physical environment. So yeah, hopefully there's lots of reasons. Yeah.
I know you reduced power because believe it or not, we were on 9 servers and went to 3, and we saved £600 a month just in power requirements. Yeah. Which is an obscene amount of money that I didn't know as an owner that I was spending.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying with that DCG example for V-Shape. I mean, anyone who's going from a physical to we put loads of massive, they're 40% reduction in operation costs, their server infrastructure, which is huge. Yeah, it's a compelling reason.
You mentioned about your solution for Barry.
Yeah.
You said they had 6 servers.
Yeah.
And went for the middle one of the
customer box. Yeah.
Yeah. And you said that was essentially 6.
So they went from 6 physical servers to 6 virtual machines on their cluster in a box.
But then that was capable of roughly how many?
So their machine was roughly 25 to 30. We say roughly, so a typical virtual machine. So each application is going to have its own kind of requirement in terms of compute and storage. And so we say typically it's about 30. If you had a really resource-hungry application, it might be a bit less than that.
Right, okay. So it gave them what they wanted plus a lot of growth.
Exactly, yeah. Room to grow and through the life of the product with no additional cost for them.
And on the virtual servers, can you configure resource as and how you want to for certain applications?
Yeah, and it can do that dynamically as well. So,
okay. So instantly turn it off.
Yeah.
Right. So if an application needs more, it will go and... So
absolutely. So let's say, I mean, you might, so like a good example is a payroll server where you're only going to need it, if you've even got one, but you only would need it for a couple of days a month. Yeah. Old world, you'd have to have a server dedicated to that. Now you can just dynamically, you just give resource to that server at 2 days of the month, and then the rest of it, then it goes back to the other services.
Okay. As a Luddite, I was going to ask, what is virtualization? But I think I'm gathering that from the...
Well, sorry, I don't know if I skipped through that slide quite quickly, but because but I hope that slide sort of shows, right? This is kind of how lots of people probably still have their businesses, but physical world, individual server, individual application, operating system and application. That might be your web server, your email server, your payroll server, your ERP, yeah, all individual. In virtualization, we bring in a hypervisor, so Microsoft's Hyper-V in this case, and that enables to carve up the physical resources within the server so that they've all got their own compute requirements, but in one server.
So not virtual, actually virtual as in cloud-based, it's still a physical thing, but it's just amalgamating separate servers, functionality of separate servers.
Yes, it's still all run on a physical server, but rather than 12, you run one.
Sorry, I was imagining 2 centuries ahead instead of...
And obviously, in the past, you used to have to go out to lots of suppliers and find switching, network, storage, and now they've put it all in one box to say, there you go, that's the ease. Because you know what it's going to be. You order switches from somewhere else, you order the server components from all different places, and then it's their fault, not theirs. So this is all in one box, one support number, which saves on resources unbelievably, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the point I was trying to make here, that actually now you've got a real central point of weakness here, that if this goes down, then your business suddenly stops operating. So we need to make sure we build in fault tolerance to here, and that's where, that's complicated, that's the difficult bit that we do for you.
Dan, can you go back one slide?
Sure. So,
I think the key thing on there is most physical servers are very underutilised.
Yes.
Your green little boxes.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see
because you think you've got a server and you're fully using it, but majority of companies out there have got those physical servers are very underutilised. So
absolutely.
When you virtualise it, you ramp the utilisation up of the virtual.
Yeah, and the hypervisor can be, as I say, is dynamic, so we can move around the compute and requirement as those applications need it.
Is there a limit as to how many virtual servers you can put on a virtual server?
Sorry, how many Well, so that's all depending on how powerful your server is. So what CPU, what memory, hard drive you've got within the physical server depends on how many virtual machines you can have on there.
What's the sort of average that people would have on
Well, I mean, we're talking about, it really, the machines we're talking about here, so cluster in a box is really kind of 25 to 30 virtual machines is where we pitch cluster in a box. We can do a bit more if necessary, and certainly below that. As I said, it's configurable. And then we jump up to our V-shaped solution. So that's a VMware-based converged infrastructure. And that has, we scale that up to 200 virtual machines as a sort of predefined options. And then we have a V-shaped enterprise which utilizes our BX, and that goes up to 2,400 virtual machines. So we're talking big enterprise class operation. SME is cluster in a box. It's Hyper-V, it's cluster in a box, yeah. And V-shape as well to some degree, but yeah.
Could you use the cluster in box to provide virtual desktops to the end users? So you have thin clients, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. So we could use it as a VDI, virtual desktop infrastructure. We could use cluster in a box for that, yes. I haven't got any use cases for that, but there's certainly the idea, definitely we could do that, yeah.
From a user point of view, if users have been used to, say, Windows, if they put a cluster in the box on the network, is that going to look like their network? Or are they going to do?
So you're talking about end users?
Yes.
Yeah, there wouldn't be any effect. The end user wouldn't see any of this, yeah.
To them, it just looks the same network of.
Yeah, and that's the point is that, well, so from an end user, absolutely, there's no change whatsoever. But from a sort of server operator or server admin perspective, it's Windows, and so they'll be used to using Windows. And actually, Hyper-V is not that complicated to actually manage and use. So from a server administration perspective, it's pretty easy to manage.